what's going on everyone? Gilman with Live Wealthy back with our daily Apple update video where we take a look at how Apple stock traded today, some key support and resistance levels to look out for, as well as what the future for the stock could look like. Now there aren't that many updates from yesterday, so hopefully it'll be a quicker video, but we will cover that real quick. And before we get into the video, I just want to kind of share with you guys, the purpose of these videos isn't to necessarily tell you that the stock is going to go up or going to go down, since no one really knows that, and it's pretty much impossible to predict that, right? Some people think they know, right? And they might have a hunch, but it's never for sure right. Now, there are times when I think a stock's going to do something, right? Like last week I said, hey, we're probably going to go down on Friday. A couple weeks before, you know, we were really optimistic headed into the iPhone event. But a lot of other times, what I like to do is I like to look at certain levels that the stock is trading at, right? Support and resistance levels, and kind of use that to drive my trading decision. If the stock goes up, might be an opportunity for me to buy like call options, or might be a swing trade option. If the stock goes down, gets rejected at some point, it might be a good idea to buy some puts. Might be a good idea to sell the stock at the high and then rebuy at the low. That's just how I trade. Just thought I'd share that, since you know, that is sort of what I'm hoping to get out of these videos, is share with you guys kind of how I'm trading, what I'm looking at, so you guys can do the same. So let's hit record and we'll get into the video. So let me hit the 1-day chart, and what we see here is you know, another pretty flat day for Apple overall. There was a lot of movement within the day, right? But at the end of the day, we're only down 28 cents or 0.23%, which isn't really that big of a move. So let's compare that to the NASDAQ. We've got, you know, 0.65% in the red. We've got the Dow down almost 300 points, more than 300 points, excuse me. The one thing I do want to kind of say is we sold off into the day, and then at the end of the day we kind of made it back to VWAP, which for those of you guys who watch my videos know I like looking at that. Same with the S&P, we're down about 1%, but you know, made a push towards VWAP, which I really like to see as we closed. So now taking a look at Apple, right? You know, for those of you that might be new, we had 3 horizontal channels at 117, 119, and then 120, 150. And I think that those channels, it could trade between the 117, 119, 119, 121. But 117, 119, 120, 150, those are sort of the points where the stock could find support, find resistance, and that'll sort of drive my trading, at least for now, around Apple. So let's take a look, right? We opened up here in the mid 119s. Let me zoom in just a little bit. We fell, this 119 horizontal line kind of bounced off of there, right? Went down to 118.81, but basically 119 went up, right, to try to hit 120, came back down, bounced off of, you guessed it, the exact same 119 point. And that's sort of why, you know, it's really crucial to watch out for these, right? Because at this point, right, if it bounces off and you see it headed up, somewhere around here you could buy the stock, or you could buy a call option because you think it's going up. Just something to keep in mind, right? We're above VWAP. We try to hit this 120.50, can't quite break it. We come down, we try to break 120.50 again, can't break it. So then what do? We come all the way down to, you guessed it, 119, right? So just something to keep in mind, that's holding as good support right now. And over the next few days, we'll likely see whether we can sort of break into that 121.50, or if we sell off and eventually break through the 119. Again, we pushed up. This time didn't quite even make it to 120.50. Went down, tested the 119s, it held, went up. This time we were lower than this. So what you see here, right, not exactly a perfect trend by any means, but what we see here is we're making lower highs every time we go up. Just something to keep in mind if you're looking at the stock within the day. Then when we went down, we broke through 119. We didn't stay there for too long, came up, went down, came up, went down, right? So for the rest of the day, what we saw is we would be above it, below it, above it, below it, above it, below it. But the 119 mark was sort of acting like a magnet, right? We would either test it for the first half of the day every once in a while, or for the second half of the day, we couldn't really make up our minds on where we were going to go, whether that was below 119 or above 119. Now, let's take a look at, you know, our daily chart, and we can kind of see if we want to, or see if we see anything. So what we see here is last week we had 3 upward trending days and 2 sort of sideways days. Now we're making a higher high, higher low, even though it doesn't really seem like it, right? We've made higher high, higher lows for the last 3 days. So just something to keep in mind. that, you know, last time we did that, we were trading sideways. It's not as crazy of a move this time, but, you know, again, something to keep in mind. So our high for today was 120.53. Our high for yesterday was 119.63. So again, making a higher high. And similarly, the low yesterday was 116.44 and the low today was 118.57. Making a lower high, lower low. I could draw a line right here, but we'll wait another day or two before we kind of start drawing more trend lines on here. But, you know, like I said, we're still in this 119. We're really close to this 119, right? We're testing in and out of it. I want to see it pushing towards this 121.48 level, 121.50 level once again, and see if we can maybe break that level this time. In terms of, you know, what we've got coming up in resistance, today's high of 120.53, right? The one where we went the 2 times. I want to see us break that first. If we break that, then we hit 122, 121.99. And then if we break that, then we would go to all the way over here to, you know, 123 and 125 from back in mid-October, that we would have to sort of break through. And then, you know, more highs from there. But I think, you know, that's a lot of resistance points that we could look out for moving into the future. On the support side, right, as we saw today and as we saw yesterday, the 119 level is acting as pretty good support right now. We're inside that channel. If it is a red day tomorrow and we break out of that channel, we could see a drop to 117. Again, nothing's guaranteed, but just something to keep in mind that that's a good level of support. And then we've got really good support at 113 that's been tested a bunch of times. We have broken below it, right, but it does hold up a lot of the times as well. Let's take a look at our moving averages and EMAs, since that could be good support. So both coming, the 20 coming in at 115.50 and the 50 coming in at 115.12. So again, if red day tomorrow, we go below the 119, the next point to look at is 117. The point after that is 115 before we drop to the 113 level. And then if we were to take a look at the EMAs, we've got the 8 EMA at 117, again, kind of solidifying that horizontal 117 line we've got. It's also the 8 EMA, right? I've talked about 8 EMA multiple times. I want to see the stock riding the 8 EMA. But we've also got the 21 and the 34 coming in at 116, 115 and a half, 55 coming in at 114. Really good support levels all throughout. The lines are starting to get stacked, which is, you know, a bullish sign for the stock as well. They've been stacked for a few days now, but just also something to keep in mind that stacked EMAs are a great indicator for stocks as well. So again, if we move up, I want to see us hitting that, you know, knocking out today's high real quick, since we struggled to do that today twice, and then moving on to the 121.50. At that point, we'll see if we get rejected or if we are able to break through with great momentum. I do want to kind of share a trade that I took on today. Let me just get the screenshot from my phone, and I'll share with you guys kind of the thought process behind it, since I do like to share those. So let me open these two. So this is the put that I bought today. Let's take a look at, you know, the daily chart once again. Oh, I hit news. So if we take a look at the daily chart, let me get rid of the indicators. When the stock went up here, right, into the 120.50, I was watching. We got rejected, I was watching. When we got rejected right there, right, the second time, that's when I bought into my position. I bought into my two, I just bought 2 puts. Again, this is my kind of side options trading account. And I only had 1 day trade left. I'd done 2 already this week. So I had to sort of get it right. Usually what I'll kind of leave myself to do is I can add on to the trade, right? So if I'm wrong, I can add in, lower my average, and still be able to get out of the trade. But because this one, I only had 1 day trade left, I sort of was stuck with it, whether it was going to go in my favor or not. So I bought it, and then, you know, sure enough, the stock dropped. I was waiting to see what it did at the 119 mark. Unfortunately, I was away from my computer and I didn't have a limit order in. So when I came back, we were around the VWAP. But at that point, my thought process was, okay, if we push back up towards this 120, right, hopefully if it breaks through, I can even out or lose a little bit, but get out. And best case, it starts to go down again and I can sort of sell it at the 119 mark. You know, sure enough, we tested it a couple times. I think this is kind of where I exited the trade. I actually exited it before the 119 mark, right? Because what I wanted to do was I got my 10%, as you could see. My cost was $210. It was at $233. I had two, made $23 each, so $46 total. Amount wise, maybe that's not huge to you, but I'm looking at the percentage, which was 10.95, so almost 11% in a few hours, just because I was sort of, following exactly what I'm saying in the video. So the reason I sold off before we tested the 119 mark is because previously, right, we'd been bouncing off of it, and although we could break through, I was at like the goal that I had set. So instead of waiting to see my 10% go down to 5 to 0 or maybe even negative, right, I locked those in, and then I kind of just watched for the rest of the day on how Apple was doing. I could have made maybe 2, 3, 4% more, but I was at my goal of 10%, so I sold. Just something to keep in mind if you guys are trading in this market. It can get kind of crazy sometimes with sell-offs or weird things happening, so lock in those profits when you can. And yeah, it's all hard for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop a like, subscribe to my channel, comment down below if you're in Apple or what you think the future for Apple is. It's all hard for you guys today. Hope you guys all have an amazing day. Let's remember to be a bit better every single day, and until next time.